Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the With Woman Health channel. If you're new here, thank you so very much for stopping by. I'm Elena, the certified nurse midwife behind With Woman Health, and here on this channel, we talk about all things planning with a bent towards our health and wellness. And today I thought that we would work in my Makselife planner to talk about setting our health goals for 2026. January is coming to an end, and so I figured it was finally time that we sit down and do this because, number one, like I've said on this channel and on the podcast before, health and wellness does not just happen. You can't just sit there and think, I'd like to lose 15 pounds, or I'd like to eat a healthier diet, or I would like to move my body more, and just expect it to happen, right? The world is not conspiring to make you healthier or more well. The world is actually conspiring to make you less healthy and less well. Everything in our society is pushing you towards scrolling on your phone, sitting, not being active, choosing the meals and the fast food and the things that are quickest and easiest. Our society is not about pushing you towards health. And so you have to take that back for yourself. So we've got a plan for it. Otherwise you set intentions in your mind, you set goals, but then a whole nother year goes by and you've made no movement towards those goals. And so that is where Makselife, I think, comes in quite nicely. And so I'm going to walk you through setting my 2026 annual goals. And then we'll regroup on some of the other goals moving forward on how we're going to break these down. If you saw my unboxing of this planning system, you'll notice that my cover is different, and that is because I changed it. I bought this planner with the Live Differently cover on it, but I felt like for the first quarter, I wanted this Just Begin cover because I've been hemming and hawing about my own 2026 goals. I've been thinking about them for a while, changing and tweaking some things, but it's time to just begin. It's time to start actually chipping away at these goals. And I have been doing that a little bit in January, but for the most part, I really haven't gotten serious about it. And it's time for me to do that. And so I want to bring you guys along for the ride. So my Just Begin cover, and then the back is kind of this minty green. And to me, this looks nice for winter months, and it's sending the message to just get started. These goals can be altered or changed or whatever I need them to be as the year goes on. So let's look. First of all, I have already done my compass assessment. I did that on paper before I even got this planning system so that I would, be ahead of the game. And so I've got my compass assessment filled out here, and then I've got my circles for where I'd like for these areas to be. You can see that there's some imbalance here. There's some areas like spiritual and personal growth where I've worked really hard in years past. Work and learning is another high one, but then I've got some lower scores in things that are important to me, like fun and recreation. Family and relationships could be higher. My health and wellness could definitely be higher. And so I've got some work to do as far as that goes. I have also set my intentions for the year. I did that off camera just because I didn't feel like you wanted to sit with me through that. But what I could use more of in my life this year is organization, fun with family, rest, and some consistency. What I could use less of is clutter, perfection, screen time. This is my planner. I don't have to answer all the questions, and you don't have to answer all the questions either. But what characteristics would I like to nurture this year? I just wasn't quite sure how I wanted to answer that. 3 habits I want to develop this year are more exercise and movement. I do some exercise and movement, but I don't have a really good habit built in that area. And there are some things that I really want to work on in this category. And then self-care. I practice almost no self-care, to be perfectly honest with you, because I feel like I'm giving to a lot of people. My career choice is serving and giving to other people. And in my home, I'm serving and giving to other people. That is wonderful. That's great. I'm glad that God has given me that inside of myself to want to serve and help other people. But I also have to take care of myself because, again, the world is not working to try to help us take care of ourselves. This year, I'm going to be more gentle with myself. I'm kind of hard on myself, so I'm going to, like most type A people, if you're out there, you identify. But I'm going to try to be more gentle with myself this year. I'm going to do less guilt and shame for taking time to rest or engage in fun and recreation. I don't know if you're that type of person, but stopping all the chores and the to-dos to just have spontaneous fun with my family is not something I'm very good at. I feel like I should be doing something else when I'm doing that. And so I want to remove that guilt and shame and focus more on those kind of things. I will give myself grace for, I'm not really sure what I want to put there. I will let go of perfectionism because I do have a perfectionistic attitude about things. And then I will embrace that done is better than perfect. I've said that before on these episodes or on the podcast because a lot of times I get paralyzed with needing things to be perfect rather than just doing them. So I'm going to try to focus on that this year. My word for 2026, I don't normally pick a word of the year. I do have some pretty strong feelings this year about what I would like my word to be, but I haven't decided. I'm choosing between kind of three words that are all similar in meaning. And what I'm looking for really is steady, continuity, continuing to happen, doing things like just sticking with it, being disciplined, being consistent, being obedient to the things that are important, to the goals that I've set, to the values that are important to me. And I just haven't quite chosen what word most encompasses that yet, that I want to really stick with. Some of them feel a little too harsh. So anyway, still working on my word of the year. But essentially, when we're setting goals, you can do your compass assessment, you can set your intentions, and they should be different than mine. I mean, some of them may be similar, but they should be different than what mine are because they should be keeping with what's important to you. But the overall goal is balance. We want to look at the overall health of you as a person, the whole picture. And I think Makselife really helps us do that. It doesn't just focus on your physical health and wellness, the absence of disease and movement. It's focusing on the whole person. And so with that, let's sit down and do our annual goals. So I want to say first that these annual goals that we're setting up today, if you listened to my podcast episode on SMART goals, the annual goals are not going to be that. They're not going to be set up as SMART goals, meaning that they're not going to necessarily be measurable, actionable. They should be achievable, hopefully, but they're not going to be broken down in that way because the annual goals are our end result. It's where we want to be at the end of the year. SMART goals come in when we start setting each monthly goal and weekly actions to reach those goals. That's when we start breaking down these big picture annual goals into those SMART goals. So today you won't see these annual goals being they're actionable, but you won't see me putting measurable goals here. Again, this is just going to be the big picture of what I want my area, my personal life, my fun and recreation life to kind of look like at the end of the year. And then as we get into the monthly breakdown, you'll see these become more of the SMART goal framework that we talked about in that podcast. And I will try to maybe link that episode below so that you can go back and listen to that if you're more interested in how to break down your goals for achievability. Okay, so let's start breaking these goals down. Let's do personal first. I don't necessarily have a focus for each one of these areas. So right now, I'm just going to put what I want my goals to be. So I've got right now, let's see, 3, 1, 2, 3. These are the Moxie dot markers. They are colored to match the different areas of life, and this one is the personal. And so I'm just putting a dot for each one just to kind of mark off my space, and then I'm using a Rytec 0.5 pen just to write in this planner. So for me, my personal goals, the first one would be to create a self-care routine. I really want to create a good self-care routine this year, probably an AM and PM routine. I want to read more. I want to be able to get through more books in a year. And I really want to begin a habit of Bible journaling. This is something that I have been interested in for a while. I purchased some Bible journaling supplies, but just haven't made any time to really do that. And so I want to start doing that this year. It fosters creativity. It's just something I'm very interested in doing. Okay, let me make sure we're in frame. We are. Okay, fun and recreation. Let's see, I have 1, 2. Let's just start with 1, 2, 3. Some of these kind of roll up together, but I want to create the margin for more fun in my life. We don't, or I don't personally take a lot of time for a ton of fun, so I want to create more margin for that. I consider my garden to be fun and recreation for me, as well as health and wellness, but I'm going to put it in the fun and recreation category, and I want to make sure that I have a spring, summer, and a fall garden this year. I have not done fall gardening in a while, but in the South, actually, fall gardening is better. There's less pest pressure. The temperatures are not as extreme. So definitely want to bring that back this year. And then spring and summer, I almost always have some type of spring and summer garden, but I'd really like to focus a little more on that this year. Bible study with a group. I have already started this. I'm doing a Bible study with a friend of mine, but doing that with other people and not just myself is a way to also network with other people and have fun with my friends and that kind of thing. So I definitely want to do that. Got a couple of other things in this, a lot of fun and recreation goals. We have an out-of-town wedding that's going to happen probably this year, so I'm going to put that on here. And there was something else I wanted to put here in this category. What was it? I might have to come back because I know there was something else that I wanted to put some focus on here. So I'll come back. Okay, flipping over now to work and learning. I've got 3 goals here for work and learning, and they're really all related to with women health. I want to grow the With Women Health audience. I want to monetize With Women Health this year. And then I have a stretch goal, which, you know, stretch goals are big, major, long-term, maybe achievable, maybe not achievable, but what you would really like to see. And I would really like to make With Women Health my sole source of income. So big stretch goal there, maybe not achievable in this year or not, but I still want it on my annual goals because it is something that I'm working towards. Okay, family and relationships. I want to spend more one-on-one time with each of my kiddos. They're getting older and we do a lot of things as a group, as a family, but I'd like to try to really carve out some time to just do one-on-one with them. I would like to have some more date nights with my husband. And I'd like to spend more time with my parents and in-laws and my grandparents. Let's just put spend more time with parents and grandparents. But in general, I just want to spend more time with extended family. Okay, let's move on to, you can see though how these goals are not specific or actionable or how we're going to reach them. It's just focused on what we want the end result to be. So it's just an overarching goal. Health and wellness. I may have more than, let's see. I really want to increase my flexibility this year. I would like to solidify an exercise routine or a movement routine. I would like to increase my sleep quality and quantity, to be honest, but if I can't increase the quantity, I can at least increase the quality of the sleep I am getting. And I would like to improve my nutrition. I have a strong focus on nutrition nourishing my body, eating a healthy diet, but it can always be improved upon. So I want to improve that, and I would like to probably lose 15 pounds this year. That may be a stretch. It may end up being more like 10, but I know that's very achievable for me if I just kind of buckle down on that. So that's my goal in health and wellness. Spiritual and personal growth. I want to increase my prayer. I do pray daily, but it's not always with major intention, and I would like to increase my intentional prayer time. I would like to practice daily gratitude. This is not something that I have put a strong focus on. Every now and again, I'll write down gratitude, that kind of thing, but I just want to be a lot more intentional about practicing daily gratitude. And I want to continue daily Bible reading. Last year, I read the entire Bible cover to cover using the Bible recap. It was the first time in my life that I had made it all the way through a Bible reading plan. Well, that's not true. The year before, I made it all the way through the New Testament with a Bible reading plan. And then in 2025, I made it through the entire Bible, Old and New Testament. Very proud that I was able to stick with that and do that. It's a goal I've had for many years. So very excited that I got that done. But I would like to continue that habit of making sure that I'm reading my Bible every single day. And so I'm going to work on that this year. Let's see, financial. These are probably the same financial goals that just about everybody has, I would imagine. I want to Okay, so when I went back to edit this video, I realized that my mic went dead right about here, and so now I'm having to learn how to do a voiceover for the rest of this goal setting video. We're talking about our financial goals, very important because everything I talk about on here, all disease processes, all are related to stress. Financial is a big area of stress. So having good control over your finances helps reduce your stress and all negative things related to stress. So my goals for the year are increasing my savings, decreasing my debt, increasing my income. There will be some breakdowns of these things, but that's the biggies. And now I'm moving on to physical environment and setting my goals there. One of my goals is to have a really solidified cleaning routine every week, every day, every week, every month, annually, so that things are not being forgotten and things are staying nice and tidy because clutter causes stress. We have some big home improvement projects that we want to complete this year, and I want to declutter our entire house. I did start that project last year and have made some good headway, but I have a lot of things that still need to be done. We actually got a jump start on some of these home improvement projects this past couple of weeks, and so I'm really excited to be making some headway on that, even though I didn't necessarily set January goals for this particular week. I did set some action items and sort of went back and retroactively put in some January goals, mostly things that I already know I'm working on and that I've already completed, that kind of thing for the month of January. And so your physical environment is important. A clean physical environment helps you to maintain health. For instance, if you've got a litter box that's not being cleaned out, that opens you up to bacteria and viruses and illnesses and that kind of thing. Having a clean bathroom, clean kitchen, clean dishes, all the things. And so I'm not really doing anything here with this vision board. I may fill it out later. We'll see. The idea garden here is just to put down information on future projects, future goals, anything you want to put here. It's just a planning space for you to put down thoughts, ideas, goals, big plans, that kind of thing. And again, I may do the vision board later. I'm not a big vision board person, but that's that. And the monthly view in this planner, I don't plan to use the monthly view that much. I don't really need it. I have a catch-all planner with a monthly view that I use diligently to keep my life in order. But as of right now, I don't really plan to use this January overview. Now this area here is for the monthly goals, where you would break your annual goals down into smaller chunks of things you want to accomplish in that month to move you up to your annual goals, help you meet those goals. And so you will be seeing me in the future setting these up month by month and going over how we're going to reach those goals together. And then this is a weekly action section, which you'll definitely see me using, where I'll make notes of what actionable things I can do to be moving me towards the January goals and further moving me towards my annual goals. And these weekly actions will be written down and planned in this book, but then moved into my catch-all planner. And then these weekly overviews, I don't need these for my regular planning. I have a catch-all planner. You've seen it. My weeks go in there. But my plan is to use these weekly layouts for gratitude. You saw that that's one of my annual goals, is to practice more gratitude. And I do want to continue to do or start doing that, get better about that. And so this seemed like a really good place for me to decorate and be creative. And then every single day, make sure that I'm writing down some things that I'm grateful for. That's very good for your health. It's good for your spirituality. It's good for changing your attitude and your mental health, that kind of thing. So that's what you'll see me doing. And we will do some of that together moving forward. I'm not 100% positive how much longer I have in this video. And so I want to take the time again to just thank you for being here with me. I'm sorry for the regular recording and then moving into the voiceover. Just depending on how this turns out will be whether or not I use voiceover on a regular basis. But this is our goal setting for the year of 2026. Thank you so much for joining me. Look down in the show notes. You'll find a link to the podcast if you're interested in hearing more about health and wellness. I'll try to link to the Smart Goals episode if that's something that you're interested in doing. And, as the year moves forward, you'll see me working more and more in this planner. We can do that together. And I just really appreciate you spending your time with me today. Join me again, like I said, over on the podcast for all things health and wellness. And then, consider subscribing to this channel if planning for your health and wellness is something that's important to you and you would like to do that together. Get out there today, do at least one thing to move you in the direction of better health. Hope you guys have a great week. See you soon. Bye.